This is episode 332 of Jumblethink.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Jumblethink, where we interview dreamers, makers, innovators, and influencers all about their journey of turning dreams and ideas into reality. Along the way, we're going to give you some tips on how you can turn your own dreams and ideas into reality too. Our guest on today's show is Ryan Rondeno. More about Ryan in a moment. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime fan, if you've never subscribed to Jumblethink, head on over to wherever you listen to podcasts, search for Jumblethink, and click subscribe. To make it even easier, if you head on over to jumblethink.com, you'll find links to places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Pandora, and more. Now let's jump into today's conversation. Hey there, friends. Welcome to Jumblethink. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host, and we have a really, really cool show lined up for you today. It's with a really great guy named Ryan Rondeno. We're going to be talking more about him in a moment. Today's show is sponsored by our friends over at Flocksy. If you need graphic design, if you need web development, if you need video editing, they can help. And what's best of all, it's a monthly subscription. So you pay one flat rate and you get access to their team. They're going to give 10% off to our listeners. All you have to do is head on over to Flocksy, FLOCKSY.com/Jumblethink. Our guest today, Ryan Rondeno, is a killer awesome chef. He has been a personal chef for people like Diddy, Will Smith, Common, Tyrese Gibson. He's done events for Mercedez-Benz, Lamborghini, the LA Philharmonic, and a bunch of other really cool stuff. He has an ebook out called Spice It Up, Rub It Down, and he has some really cool products, some really unique spice blends. We're going to be talking about all he's built, how he got into his career as a cook, working with Emeril Lagasse, a whole bunch of other stuff. It is a super fun conversation. So let's go ahead and join our conversation with today's guest, Ryan Rondeno. Ryan, thanks so much for being on with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I am really excited to talk to you about what you've done. You have an interesting journey, it sounds like, and a really fun story. I love stories, and I love people who have taken a passion and turned it into a business. And so lots to talk about. Give us a little bit of background, because you've worked with some crazy people like Will Smith and Diddy and Emeril Lagasse. Talk to us a little bit about how in the world does somebody get to work with those kind of people, because they're the real deal for sure.
Yeah, it's the real deal. Well, it goes way back. It goes way back, well before the Will Smiths and the Diddys and all the celebrities. So my first restaurant job was cooking at Commander's Palace.
Okay.
In New Orleans. So now during that time, a lot of prominent chefs came through there.
Yeah.
Harper Dome.
Yeah.
Emeril.
Yeah.
Jamie Shannon.
Yeah.
And the list goes on and on. So that was like a starting place for a lot of prominent chefs.
So you talk about coming up through there in New Orleans. Are you from New Orleans? How'd you end up there? How'd you end up working there?
I'm from New Orleans.
Okay. I love New Orleans. New Orleans is a beautiful city.
New Orleans is a great city. So I went to culinary school at Chef John Culinary Institute, which is in Thibodaux, Louisiana, which is probably about an hour outside of New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I went there, during school, you want to get the experience of working in a restaurant. So Commander's was the first choice.
Yeah.
So that's where it all began.
Yeah.
That's when kitchens were, it was off the charts.
When was this? Is this like, This
was 1998.
Okay. All right. So this is pre-Katrina. It's pre-9/11. It's pre kind of world turns upside down. I mean, that's what we're dealing right now. Another weird upside down moment of culture and civilization. But exactly. So you're there in 98 and you end up working there. Now, were you cooking before you go to the culinary school outside of New Orleans? Were you cooking a lot before that? Like, how did you get started into the world of cooking?
I was, you cook at home.
Yeah.
Mess around at home. I started Started when I was around 10.
Wow.
So, just mess around because my parents always worked. Always work late. So, you get home from school early. You're hungry. You want something to eat. So, just get in the kitchen.
Eventually, waiting for someone to show up to feed you gets a little old.
It's out the question. Well, in the way we were raised, if you want something, it was all boys. You want something, go get it.
Mm-hmm.
Go get it. So you want something to eat, go fix it.
Yeah.
So that's how it all started. Just cooking breakfast. Brothers at home. Sometimes cousins and stuff come over, and we just eat. So it came about. It was one day. One of my cousins, he was like, "You're gonna be a chef one day," and I just looked at him. It's like, whatever. I'm just hungry. But just kept doing it, and I began to take it seriously around 16 or 17.
Okay.
Just cook more and cook more. But I still didn't go to school. I still didn't go to college for culinary arts.
Wow.
I went for electrical engineering. Just decided, this is not for me. This is not my path. So I just switched to culinary arts, and the rest has been history.
Wow. So you end up cooking at
Commander's Palace.
Commander's Palace. That's right. And they're pretty famous. They've got a lot of legacy there, a lot of history there. You end up working there. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
It was an eye opener. It was my first restaurant job, so I'm green as can be.
Yeah.
So you don't know what to expect. It's moving 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And the first thought that came to my mind was like, what did I get myself into? but you kept grinding. You kept grinding. You started grinding other cooks, so you wanted that same passion.
Yeah.
And not only in this restaurant, but all the other restaurants. I was always the youngest person in there, so I was able to not only soak up knowledge from the chefs and chef de cuisines and sous chefs, but also the cooks at hand also.
Yeah. So
that was very beneficial to me. So, but burn marks, burn wounds, they all have a story.
Yeah.
But it was much the experience I was able to gain from that was a well-needed experience to really, really set the pace for what I'm doing today.
Yeah, and I can only imagine. I mean, you can learn so much in culinary school. You can learn so much by doing it yourself. But when you get into an elite kitchen, like that kitchen, that's got to be a game changer when it comes to understanding how food's prepared, how you create on scale of that level. That's got to really recondition you of what cooking really is.
Yes. I mean, it teaches you about, discipline and consistency, timing, time management, all these things you apply to your daily life. You have to apply fast, 100 miles an hour every single day.
Yeah.
And it changes every single day. So, it just brings back memories. I just wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
Yeah. How long did you end up being there?
I was just there for the summer because I was living on campus at the time.
Okay.
There for the summer. Then that's when I decided to move back home and just commute back and forth to school. Mm-hmm. And I moved to started my first internship at Peristyle.
Okay.
Which was another prominent restaurant in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Before I went to Emerald's. So Peristyle, contemporary French cuisine, Chef John Culinary. Same thing, but it was on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
So now it switches. You learn about details and perfection.
Mm.
So now you go from mass production to detail and perfection. It's how do you put all that together?
Yeah.
So it's, just a lot of repetition, a lot of trial and error. Granted, I'm young. You mess up here, you might mess up on things, but you learn from it and you keep it moving. Yeah.
So you do that, and then you end up at Emerald's. How did that happen, and what was that experience like?
So within the culinary school where we have to do 2 internships. So your choice, you can go anywhere you want. I could have went anywhere I wanted to go, but I want to stay at home. I want to learn the Cajun-Creole cuisine.
Yeah.
And, what better yet than, Emerald at the time.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I just can't say bam,
I'm guessing he probably didn't do that in the kitchen all that much.
He did not do that in the kitchen. You never heard that in the kitchen. Although people ask, like, they were asked, like, when does he say bam? And you just say, "Low." You have to ask him that.
Yeah. So, New Orleans has a very food culture. There's Creole, there's French influences. There are a lot of different tastes in New Orleans. And I think that's part of what makes that culture there so special when it comes to the food scene is that there's nowhere else in the States like it when it comes to the combination, the cohesion of the dishes that are being made. Do you feel like that is something that has set you up for success or something that conditioned you to only think a specific way as you cook?
I think it set me up for success because you have to look at Cajun Creole food, 7 countries, 7 different countries, 7 different styles that's comprised into one cuisine.
So what are the 7 countries? What are the 7 cuisines?
So of course you have the French,
yep.
You have Italian, you have the Spanish, English, German, African, Native American.
Okay.
And one that's they give more credit now, but back then not much credit. But the Vietnamese, the Vietnamese brought a lot to the table also.
Wow. Yeah. So there's a lot in that. I mean, I guess that's where gumbo comes in. It's like the combination of all of these different things in one pot.
You look at gumbos, the jambalaya. Gumbos come from African cuisine.
Yep.
The jambalaya comes from the Spanish. Etouffee from the French. So forth and so forth. So that's what helps make us some classical dishes.
Yeah. Now, you didn't stay in New Orleans. Talk to us a little bit about the process of moving from New Orleans, why you did it, and what that looks like now.
I left New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina.
Okay.
It wasn't how I wanted to leave, but it happened. So I moved to Atlanta after the hurricane, evacuating, and I went to work for Emerald again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I left Emerald in 2003.
Yeah.
Worked at some other restaurants up until 2005. Then I joined them again in 2005.
Okay. Yeah. So you end up in Atlanta. And now I know that there is, I listened to a podcast. Believe it or not, I actually listen to podcasts for those listening. Other than ours, there's a podcast called Beyond Bourbon Street, which is talking about New Orleans, but outside of just what everyone thinks of New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And I know even with Katrina, there's a perception outside of the circle of New Orleans of what the transformation, what the impact, how that impacted life and business and everything like that. From an insider's point of view, as someone that has gone through that, how do you view Katrina?
It was an eye opener. I mean, it was something that you had control over, but you didn't have control over. Mm. You had the choice to evacuate if you wanted, but when you came back, it was just chaos. Yeah, chaos for a minute. And you had a choice to stay or leave. Mm. I chose to leave because it was always something I wanted to do.
Okay.
It's something I always saw myself bringing, Cajun Creole food to other places, showing my style to other places, and really taking on the cuisine of that region and meshing it with Cajun Creole and just, giving them something totally new and different.
Yeah.
But you as I was away, as you were able to watch from afar, you saw the resiliency of the people coming together and, making it a city again.
Yeah.
Restaurants coming back, businesses coming back, and, you see what it is today.
So you go to work for Emerald in Atlanta. How long did you stay there? What was that like? And somewhere along the line, you choose to go out on your own and start doing some things. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, I was at Emerald's in Atlanta for 3 years.
Wow.
Up until the restaurant closure.
Okay.
So the restaurant closed around the 2008 recession.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
these moments of impact. I mean, we're in it like now. We're just talking about that a few minutes ago, but they seem to be turning points for you of like reset and refocus.
That's correct. And that's why I'm looking at this point now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, reset and refocus.
Mm.
So you have time, you have idle time to really look at those things. Now that I went to New York after that. I went to New York for a summer.
Okay.
And took a job just to, something to fill the void while I'm looking for something that I want. And I ran a Creole restaurant in Long Island, ran that for the summer.
Mm.
Then, once that was over, I came back to Atlanta, still the same, still can't find a job. So I was okay. Maybe it's my time to go. Wow. So that's when I moved to LA.
Okay.
That's when the Will Smith job came. So that came about, through a mutual college friend. And I was able to go there, interview with him, and stay on for 3.5 years.
Wow.
So first time as a private chef, which is a whole different movement.
Yeah. I can imagine, because you go from doing 20 to 100 tops a night or in a seating to doing 1 or 2 or 5 people at a time.
Right. Or sometimes, parties and stuff like that, it varies. So did that, then freelance for a while after I left him, then worked for some more people. Now I have Rondeno Culinary Designs. Yeah. So there's no 1 to 5 people. There's parties, there's events. We do meal prep services. Have the Rondeno Spice Collection, ebooks, T-shirts. So it's an empire that's forming. Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the difference between a caterer and a private chef, or a personal chef.
Well, I mean, between a private chef and a personal chef or a caterer, a private chef is solely for that one client.
Yeah.
And that's it.
So someone like Oprah or Will Smith or their families might have a personal chef that comes in, manages their food, does all their food prep, gets everything going. Maybe they cook it on their own. Maybe they stay in-house and cook for them. So that's what a personal chef would do.
A personal chef can do that, but usually a private chef would do it in-home.
Okay.
Maybe 4 or 5 days a week. It just depends on the household schedule.
Yeah.
And that's what determines, you are their private chef.
Yeah.
But a personal, I can have multiple clients. I can do multiple things. So that's why, I decided to switch to being a personal chef, because I was able to incorporate more of my style to people versus your private chef. You're cooking to their style, to their likings.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
Well, and that's got to be hard for a chef. I mean, if you own a restaurant and you pick and create the menu, and, there's flexibility in there to put things that you like, enjoy cooking, enjoy doing in there. But when you're a private chef or a personal chef, you kind of are at the whims of somebody to say, no, this is what I want. This is what it's got to be. How do you approach creating the menus in that case when you're working with someone? What's that like? What's that process?
Right. Well, I mean, I've been fortunate to have clients that allow me to be me. Even though I still tailor the menus to their likes and dislikes, I can still be myself and cook great food. So as we wrap up this first segment here, talk to us a little bit about some of the people you've worked with, because I mentioned that we've obviously talked about Legacy, that you've been worked at his restaurants, but you've worked with some pretty crazy people. Talk to us a little bit about that. Yeah, I was able, of course, we mentioned Will Smith. I've cooked for Tyrese. I've cooked for Common. I've cooked for Kevin Durant, Exhibit. Who else? We cooked for Rodney Harrison, Common. So, I mean, it just goes on. Ben Affleck. So it goes on and on, so.
As we wrap up this first segment, there's 3 questions we always ask. The first one is, how do you find purpose in what you do?
I find purpose through passion. So you have the passion, everything else just tailors itself.
Yeah. I'll ask this 2 ways because I think as I've been doing a lot of interviews since the COVID-19 coronavirus mayhem, this question has a completely different meaning than it did a month and a half ago. So I'm going to ask it both ways. What is one challenge you're currently working to overcome, obviously in the light of coronavirus, but outside of that also?
The challenge now, overcoming this, getting back to work, just like I'm sure everyone else is, just getting back to a routine and, just doing what you love to do again. Even though I'm still able to do it, it's not at the full capacity that I want.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not
right.
The same.
So I'm looking forward to that.
And finally, what's the next big dream or idea or goal that you're working on?
The next goal is putting together an app, a recipe app.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Yeah. So things that, you're at home. Of course, everybody's at home now, so you can cook different dishes, different genres of cuisine, different seasonal dishes.
Yeah.
To really enhance your cooking skills, cook for your family, friends, things of that nature.
Yeah. Super cool. We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Rondeno Culinary Designs, Rondeno Spice Collection. We're going to talk about the ebook, Spice It Up, Rub It Down, a lot more. We'll be right back. Hey there, it's Mike. And as a small business owner, I understand that it can be really hard to hire an employee or a big agency to manage your graphic design, web development, and video needs. But there's hope. Our friends over at Floxy are here to help you. They offer unlimited projects by a vetted creative team for a flat monthly rate. Video editing, graphic design, writing, web design, and more. And they're constantly adding new categories. Best of all, as a listener of Jumblethink, they're going to give you 10% off your first month. And they're going to include a 14-day money-back guarantee. If you are ready for new business cards, a new logo, a new website, they're there to help you. So head on over to floxy.com/jumblethink. That's floxy.com/jumblethink to get 10% off your first month and start getting the design and development you need for your projects. Now let's return to today's conversation with Ryan Rondeno. We are back with Ryan Rondeno. All right, before we dive into the conversation any further, there's some cool stuff people can engage with, whether it's hiring you for a project if they're in LA, or if they want to purchase some of the products, some of the specialty things that you're doing. How can people find and connect with you?
They can find me on my website at RondenoCulinaryDesigns.com. So that's where they can see everything I do, from the meal prep to the products to the ebook to the t-shirt. So they can reach out, and if they want an event or party, we can definitely make that happen. So the events are designed to give you an experience, bring the restaurant to you.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like getting out, just
feel like getting out. I think all of us feel like getting out.
Oh, we all feel like getting out. Even I feel like getting out now. So. Before COVID-19, that's how everything was structured.
Yeah, cool. Well, we'll have those links in the episode notes. So when you're listening, you don't have to work for it. You just click a button. It takes you right there. It's an episode notes.
Right.
So
that's
just do that. All right. So you start the culinary designs portion of your business, which is the private personal chef kind of thing, I would assume.
The personal chef, the dinner parties, the events, the catering. So that side of it.
When you say events, what does that mean? What does that look like?
It could be parties from 20 to 50. The most we've done has been 350.
Wow.
So it varies. It varies on the situation.
Yeah, and looking over what you've done, so some of the events could be for stuff like the LA Philharmonic, or it could be for Mercedes-Benz for an event that they're putting on. Lamborghini, you did one with them.
Lamborghini, we've done Emmys, ESPYs.
Wow.
Done an Oscar event.
Okay.
So the list, it just grows. Each year it grows.
Okay.
It grows into something different.
What's your favorite type of event to do?
I mean, I enjoy the ESPYs.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I guess for one, because I'm a sports junkie.
Yeah.
So
which must be killing you right now with
right, exactly. Exactly. So that was probably one of my favorite ones to do. You meet athletes you've already seen, no matter what sport it is.
Yeah.
And, they can enjoy your food. So it's probably one of my favorite ones to do.
That's super cool. Then you decide, it would be kind of cool to put some products out here, because not everyone's in LA. Not everyone's going to be able to hire you or go to an event that you're a part of, or, use the actual proximity to their advantage. I live on the East Coast. I love LA. One day I'd like to have a third house there. I still have to get to the second house, but that's a different story. Love the beach. I love Disney. I love, Burbank, and there's not much to do in Burbank, but usually I have meetings there. So, but all that to say, you decide at some point, I want to make this accessible to other people to take on, and use the spices that I've created, or to have a killer t-shirt. And they do look killer. They're very cool looking. So talk to us about that and that journey of saying, I could do a little bit more than this.
Well, it all started with the spices. I've always, you always want a product of your own. You always want, something you can call your own, and, introduce to others, introduce, give them a taste of what you feel in your kitchen so they can feel it in their kitchen.
Yeah.
So, when they cook, cook their proteins, cook their food, something they don't have to think about.
Yeah.
Just take the rub, season their product, and just go. Don't think about it. So my goal with that was to give them a sense of how I cook in the kitchen.
Okay. You go through some of the spices that you have. There's some really cool blends there.
The Nola Creole rub.
Okay.
It's a favorite of many. Down to chili barbecue, great for barbecue, ribs.
Yeah. So that's like a dry rub kind of spice.
Yeah, these are all dry rubs.
Okay.
Dry rubs. You have the citrus herb rub, so you want something light, something floral.
Okay.
Herbaceous, great for chicken, vegetables, seafood. Then we have the smoked coffee.
Okay. I have to say, one of my favorite spice blends that I ever had, and I'm not a coffee drinker. I've just never been a coffee guy. But one of my favorite blends was a coffee blend, and I can't find it anymore, which is a bummer. So I'm going to be ordering from you.
You got to try this one. I'm actually cooking with it today for Passover, doing a coffee smoked brisket.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, so
not a bad day in that.
Not a bad day. We're doing that. Then you have the jerk, Caribbean jerk rub.
Okay.
Take you to the islands for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Then the gumbo rub.
Okay.
So the gumbo rub, that was out of all the rubs, that was the rub I wanted to come out with the most, the first at least, just because gumbo is one of my favorite dishes.
Yeah.
It can act as a base, seasoning base to really enhance the flavors in your own gumbo, wherever you make it. So that's a good starter for people.
Nice. Is your food still inspired from that New Orleans Creole, Cajun feel, or is that just a launching off point for where you've gone now since you're in LA? Passed through Atlanta, of course, but
I mean, it still has a feel, but I'm able to make it regional with California cuisine, Southern, Northern cuisine. So, I mean, French, Italian. I mean, all different things. You're able to put your flair to it and create something new, something fresh.
Yeah.
So, some knocks are that Cajun-Creole can be heavy, but it's not. So you show them a different side to it of how we eat.
Okay.
Just like California, it's local sustainable.
Love it.
New Orleans is local and sustainable.
That's right.
So it's the same thing. So just give them a raw picture of that we eat well just like they do.
Yeah. I live in the Northeast now. I lived in Northern California most of my adult life. I have to say one of the things I miss most about California is the nature of food sourcing, the availability of such a blend of different foods and the food culture. I really miss that. Being in LA, there's, tons of chefs down there who are creating, who are inspiring a new level, a new generation of chefs. So as a person that's a part of that culture, how is that inspiring you?
I mean, they're amazing to learn from. Their style. A lot of Mexican chefs I've run into, Asian chefs, Italian chefs. So you grab and soak, what they bring to the table as well. Vice versa.
Yeah.
And it becomes happy eating. I think that's probably it's probably one of the best potlucks I've been to. It was one year after Christmas. A bunch of chefs got together and we had our own potluck, all chefs. Nobody else. Nobody's allowed, but chefs.
That's one party I wish I could have snuck into. The other thing California, of course, is known for, not just the farm-to-table kind of culture, this ethical sourcing, the really quality ingredients. One of the other things that they're known for out there is being health conscious, being focused on health. And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of debate about, can something taste good and be good? Can something have lots of flavor and not be, rich in bacon fat? That's an argument for another day, but
that's what I was going to argue. Who doesn't like bacon fat?
Duck fat. There's another one that's pretty amazing. Yeah.
I mean, it can. This is where, using your cooking techniques come into play.
Yeah.
Roasting, smoking, grilling. You're able to really extract a lot of flavor from these ingredients and still be healthy and still maximize the flavor for what it is.
Yeah. All right. As we both know, most of us are stuck at home. Most of us aren't getting out. And we've, as a family, we've done two things. We've done a lot of shopping and cooking at home. I like to cook, and so done a lot of that. But we've also supported local restaurants that we know are struggling and being hurt. For those people staying at home, and maybe they're like going, I've always wanted to cook. One of the big trends right now is the sourdough challenge. I don't get that during the coronavirus thing, why people are going to that, but that's one of the,
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that's one of the big trends right now. Is like this big sourdough thing. Anyway, I like sourdough, but not enough to be like, oh yeah, that's the trend I want to try over being quarantined. For those people that are at home who don't have the experience of cooking, maybe they are like, hey, I'm really good at doing a killer ramen or a scrambled egg if they're really good, And so they may be saying this is a time to adventure into cooking. What are some tips you'd give them at home?
I would say start with what you have. Utilize what you have. Research new recipes.
Okay.
Something that may interest you.
Yeah.
That's on an easy level.
Okay.
Start at easy level, then you work as you get comfortable. Begin to work your way up to harder recipes.
What are some recipes you think people should give a go at? That would be a good hey, coronavirus lockdown. Here's some recipes to try out. Maybe some of your own, or maybe some other ones that you go, hey, try making a good whatever.
Well, some of my own. I have an ebook. So they can try some easy recipes out of that.
Okay. What kind of recipes are in that ebook? It's and correct me, it's Spice It Up, Rub It Down is the ebook, right?
I mean, real simple things that's around the run the spices, corn chowders, we do tacos, we do ribs, a roasted chicken, super simple. How to cook a steak, these things, things people have questions about, it's in there, so even salmon dishes that, during this time, coronavirus, I've seen a lot of people buy salmon, so they can, utilize that. So if not, YouTube, you have the Internet Epicurious Food Network site. So, a lot of different things across the board that they can research. Nice.
All right. So we've talked about a lot of stuff, but one of the things that we haven't talked about, you've done some TV appearances. And of course there is Throwdown with Bobby Flay. There is shows like Iron Chef. If you go head to head with any chef, who would it be?
Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay? Could you beat Bobby Flay? That's the question.
I could beat Bobby Flay. I mean, I'll take my Southern style and beat Bobby Flay.
Okay. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Yeah, we have to make that happen.
Yeah. I think Bobby needs a good takedown most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some chefs take him down.
Yeah.
Sometimes he can't, it's hard to learn everything. But he knows a lot.
Yeah.
But you see some chefs really bring it to him.
Yeah. As we move towards the end of the second segment, there's so much you've accomplished. You've worked with some of the greatest chefs. You've cooked for some of the biggest names. You've launched some really killer products. You've done some really cool things. And in the first segment, we talked about what's one idea, one dream that you want to work on. You mentioned the app that you'd like to create for what you're doing and recipes and all of that. We're in an interesting time where most of us have a lot of time to think and process. And if we choose to do that, we can. What are the things that you're thinking about for this new season once we come out of this whole chaos?
That's a good question because of course, there's been a lot of thought. One, just, restructuring everything I do, enhancing the, delivery service, enhancing the events, or even, you never know, possibly have a restaurant.
Okay.
You never know. So it was just, looking into that, brainstorming about it, when is the right time? With everything coming back, do you allow people to really settle and get themselves together, then do it, or when's the right time to do it? So, but a restaurant is a deep thought right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you do it in LA? Would you adventure somewhere else?
I'll do it in LA.
Okay. Yeah. So you're an LA boy now. You're going to be staying there.
I can say that yet. But this is where, I have been able to really set the tone for what I do now. So why not do it? There's not many Southern restaurants here. So why go somewhere else and do it when I can do it right here?
That's right. Be the outlier. Be the person that's bringing something new and fresh and different and challenging people's taste buds to something a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah.
Right. And that's the goal, to show them like a different side of New Orleans cuisine. Yeah. It can be elevated if they're really open to it.
Yeah. Super cool. Well, we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, it's rapid fire questions. There is a lot going on here at Jumblethink, including idea camps, new episodes, and some top secret things that we've yet to share with the world. We want you to be the first to know what's the best way to do it. Head on over to jumblethink.com, sign up for our newsletter, or click one of those magical little buttons to take you to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, where we can be friends and do this journey of chasing ideas and dreams together. So head on over right now, sign up for that newsletter, and let's connect on those amazing social channels. Now let's jump into rapid fire questions with today's guest, Ryan Rondeno. We are back with Ryan for rapid fire questions. Are you ready for rapid fire questions?
Hey, I'm ready.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. I don't know if this is as pressure as being in a hot New Orleans kitchen, but we'll try to bring the heat in this. So first question, as a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Baseball player.
What is one tip you'd give someone with a big idea or dream and they don't know where to start?
Write it down.
I love it. What is one change you'd like to see in the world?
I think we're seeing it now. I think kindness, openness, be considerate to people.
What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy has to be what we're doing now. People know me as a great chef.
Where do you find inspiration?
That's a lot of things. A lot of inspiration, reading, cooking, watching other chefs, just learning about the cuisine as a whole.
I'm going to ask two questions here. It's the same question. Typically, I ask it this way. What is one book you think every dreamer should read? And the second way I'm going to ask this, and you can answer both or just one, whatever you choose. The second version of this question, which I don't ask, is what do you think is one book every foodie should read?
Every dreamer, entrepreneur, lean startup.
Okay.
So it's a good book for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Every cookbook. I'm definitely a fan of Mark Forgione.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's very inspirational, and he has a lot of great knowledge that everyone can learn from.
How do you define success?
Success is defined about the goals you set out every day. I guess a lot of people would say it's money, but it's not. It's putting your best foot forward.
Love that. What is one trend you are currently excited about?
I guess the trend to come. Seeing people prosper again. Yeah, that's gonna be a trend that's coming.
Yeah, that's good. What is one habit you find helpful in your life?
Being consistent, going after everything that it's desire. Tasting my food. That's a great habit.
Yeah.
You gotta taste your food.
Yeah. What is one thing you wish you would have known when you first started out?
I think one thing I wish I would have knew, what exactly it took.
That's good.
I think mentors and things like that, they say go after it, strive, but you really have to break down what it takes to strive.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what do you think you'd be doing?
Good question. I'll probably maintain trying to be an electrical engineer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And finally, what is one dream you're still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
Maybe have a family someday.
That's awesome. I love it.
That's a dream, right?
That's a good dream. It's a good dream until you realize that the kids drive you crazy. No, they're awesome. We love our kids, and they're pretty awesome. Do drive us crazy sometimes, but we love them. So
I'm sure.
As we wrap up, what is your final thought for all of us listening today?
My final thought is, I think what we talked about earlier is like, how do you find purpose? Be passionate about your purpose, and the rest will take care of itself.
Ryan, thanks so much for taking time out, sharing your story, giving us insights into the world of cooking, and giving us some tips for how to navigate cooking at home during this craziness.
Yes, thank you.
Once again, we want to thank Ryan for taking time out and being on the show with us today. There's a lot of cool stuff he's doing, and you can find links to his ebook, to his spices, and much more in today's episode notes. Now, here's my final thought for you today. Go cook something. Now, I know that kind of sounds strange, but creativity is birthed out of creativity. And what I mean by that is often we are stuck in our ruts. We're stuck in our ways. And we don't know how to break out of it or generate new ideas or spark the creativity to happen. Well, maybe just cooking something new tonight, or trying out a new recipe, or eating something that you've never eaten before could be a great way to spark more creativity. So get in that kitchen, get the food cooking, and enjoy trying something a little different today. And I want to thank you for tuning into today's show. It means the world to me that you would listen, and I hope today's show has encouraged you, challenged you, and given you some great resources to be inspired to chase the dreams and ideas inside of you. Now it's your turn to dream big and to change the world around you.
Les bras et les jambes légèrement espacés. Étirez-vous doucement, mais complètement. En avant, en arrière, sur sur les côtés. Vous êtes une autre personne. Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant. Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.